Here we go. And we should start going live here. Starting, we're probably pretty much live right now. Yes, we are. So, with that being said, I'm live up here on YouTube. It's Sunday morning, and I have David with me. Hello, David. How are you?
Hey, good, Bill. How you doing?
And I'm doing pretty good. So, I think I'd start off here. I wanted to ask David a few questions here. David has been around a lot of years. He's seen a lot of stuff that's going on in society, and he's definitely awake to what's going on around him. And so, what do you think the future is for the manosphere?
Um, well, I think men need to be vigilant, right? It's definitely a pretty scary time to be a man in America right now. Um, every time I turn on the news, there's another story about a man being, accused of something. That's all it takes is just an accusation, and your life is completely turned upside down. I
Yeah.
mean, do how? Yeah, I mean, I'm sure you would agree with me on that, Bill.
Yes, yes, that's for sure. Being a man in today's society is not a good thing. And the future for men. So, in the future for men, do you think it's going to be more Glee, more TFL, more division, more infighting? Do you see anything get any better?
Yeah, I know. I just see the TFL thing getting worse. The more division. I mean, we're actually beyond division now. It almost seems like women are being kind of weaponized against men these days. With this Me Too movement uh, thing going on, and yeah, I mean, like I said, a woman can just go back and to any time in her life and just accuse any guy of anything she wants, and without any recourse or any proof, and the law is just always going to side with her, and that's the fact.
That's pretty much what it's been for a long time. It has gotten to a point now where I have to agree with you, David. That's really where we're at. Women don't have to have any accountability. They absolutely have to have no proof at all. All they got to do is just make the accusation and they can destroy a man's life. And
Right.
so if you're living TFL, of course, you TFLers, I don't think you pretty much you don't have to worry about some of the stuff happening onto yourself.
Yeah, if you're pretty much being ignored by them, and you're just pretty much a ghost of society. You don't really chances are that ain't going to happen to you. But yeah, but you just still got to kind of watch your back a little bit. Regardless of whether you live in TFL or not.
Yeah, that's true. And how do you feel it goes for guys who, like myself, to try to speak out?
Um, yeah, I mean, it's if you speak out against this, it's you're always going to be it's like you're going to be attacked by people, and it's just a tough thing to go through. To it's almost like a no win situation. It's almost like a no win situation sort of thing.
Actually, in reality, that's what it feels like a lot of times. If I was to compare back in 2007 to today's time, we've literally gone backwards. Because at least
Yeah,
back in
yeah,
2007, more men were willing to come forward and talk about it. More men spoke out. Even on the TFL top radio topic show, you had a lot more men that were willing to get involved and speak out. Now it's like they're running scared.
yeah. I would definitely think a lot of men are becoming pretty afraid to to voice their opinion on what's going on, the state of affairs. With
Yeah,
that.
I
Yeah.
figured it was something interesting to talk about because the facts are, let's look at MGTOW for an example. MGTOW within itself was the real answer to overturning the social engineering, but nobody ever took it seriously. And they have completely destroyed what MGTOW would stand for. And so, what do you think about MGTOWers who call themselves MGTOW monks?
Um, basically just I would say just TFL is in denial pretty much. Guys that have been living TFL pretty much their whole lives, and just kind of give it, just just kind of going under that guys, the MGTOW guys.
Yeah, I think that, but I also think the ones that are putting monk behind their name are probably out there playing all the games and chasing women hard to try to get some tail.
Yeah.
And they're putting on this persona that they're actually stronger and better than typical man going their own way because they have strong, they are the true men going their own way. And in reality, men going their own way has been completely destroyed because the only men that I've ever actually seen that are really going their own way are men that have actually been in a relationship that the woman has done everything that Mitchell started talking about and destroyed their life and stole
Yeah.
everything away from them using the court system. Them are men that became angry and bitter, and they don't want to go back to that path ever again. But the majority of men going their
Right.
own way is fraudulent. These are guys that are
Yeah.
TFLers that have never had women, and guys that are chasing women, and they come up here and then they'll tell you, well, they get laid all the time. And how do you feel about a guy that you see up online telling people they get laid all the time?
Most of the time I don't believe it. I see a lot. I know a lot of people, a lot of guys personally that I know that they're alone and they try to present themselves as somebody that gets laid or gets with women all the time. Um, just to try to fit in, and because they're just too ashamed to be in. It's almost like there's no greater shame than admitting that you're having trouble finding a girlfriend in today's society.
Yeah. Now, see, I'm
Uh,
with you all the way on that. I think Mitchell talked about the same things with me, and I think Dave is on the same key right there. I mean, Dave is right. And that's exactly really what it is. They're too ashamed to say that they can't get a woman in their life. And they try to put on this phony image to fit in. And to me, it's just insanity because nobody looks for the root cause. And so they don't realize the social engineering machine, what's taking place in society, that they're actually not at fault for what's happening to them. It's happening to millions and millions of men all over the world, that they're by a far cry not alone. And if you're ever going to change anything, you have to first be honest with yourself, don't you, David?
yeah, absolutely, Bill. It's yeah, definitely agree with you 100% there.
And that's the one area that I don't think that there's very many men in the manosphere that are even honest with themselves. And they won't be honest with
Mm,
themselves. And if you're not honest with yourself, you're not going to be honest with anybody else and anything you're putting out.
right. And like you said, the best thing you can do is educate yourself and find and just look into the root cause of what's going on.
And
That's the most I think that's the most important thing a guy can do, and that's living TFL these days.
yeah, and I think,
You know.
what David said is true. You've got to try to educate yourself into what's really going on and why this is taking place rather than worrying about trying to fit in with a bunch of phony frauds and fakes. Okay, rather than letting it stress you out. I think a lot of people up online, especially in the manosphere, are here to vent, lie, deceive others, and some are here for just personal gain. What they're getting out of it is beyond me. But for true TFLers or for people that are honest with themselves, especially in the manosphere, you think that you would want to see this corruption come to an end. Don't you, David? Don't you think that that's what they'd want?
Yeah, yeah. I would. I'd like to see that myself. It's yeah, it's just been going on so blatantly, so obviously for so long, and it's just gotten so out of hand. But yeah, something's got to. I definitely want to see something change. Change for the better, of course.
Yeah. And that's
Mm.
one of the reasons I've always continued to speak out. And I think that's also one of the reasons Steve Hoka stayed as long as he has fighting this. And Steve Hulk is not gone nowhere. Simply because you don't see him
Hmm.
putting stuff up doesn't mean that he's just disappeared. The man has a life and he's real, just like I am, just like David is. We're real. We're not going to come up here and fakely lie to you and deceive you. And he has a life, and you get people out here that want to attack him or attack me. And I've been attacked so many times over the years. I don't even think I can account all the times I've been attacked. And it's not easy when you're speaking out because you know what? Half the attacks are probably TFLers in denial who attack me. And the other half the attack are simps, and I like to call them simps and vaginas, and I wished I was a man. Men who are so weak, so petrified of pissing a woman off that they might run the women off. And I think a lot of these MGTOW monks are the same way. They're so weak, so afraid of, pissing a woman off that they might scare the women off. And they're not about to speak the real truth. What do we see going on is we see people coming up in pockets and regurgitating what's been said for 10, 12 years now. The symptom, the symptom, the symptom, the symptom. Okay. And then you get this percentage that'll come up here and regurgitate feminism and the rape culture and this. And I was sitting down last night before I went out for the evening with my wife, and I was watching some recent women's march videos from this month, you know, 2019. These marches just took place. So they're pretty new. And it just astounds me how these so called women marching for women's rights are, and the men even, how they're so asleep to what's going on in society.
Hmm.
They're pushing this Trump scenario again. And Trump's the bad guy, and Russia and the psyop that's been pulled on the people is what they're pushing. And then when it
Right.
comes to equality, well, you got women saying, all we want is equality. We just want things to be even between men and women in society, and the wage gap between men and women, and the lies that they're pushing out their mouth. These women really don't see that they actually have the same rights as men and more rights than men, and they still don't see it. They just don't see it. They actually believe they're being pushed down.
Right. I don't know how long they're going to keep pushing this, equal pay thing, and in the work, men are making more money than women. What I see, it looks like it's the other way around. I mean, I see more women, making the same, if not more, than men. You got more women in college, more, graduating college, and I see women, particularly where, even where I work, getting promotions, just based on, um,
Their gender.
because they know somebody, or they, even do a few sexual favors, and get some get some cushy promotion. I see that a lot.
Yeah.
It's
Oh,
that goes on everywhere too, not just where I work, but every business in every state in the country, that sort of thing goes on.
yes, it is. And that is actually what David just said would be the real truth of it is pretty much the other way around. But I was just so amazed. I'm watching, and I wasn't surprised at all. But I'm amazed at how so asleep so many people are. They're complaining about Trump and think they're going to somehow going to get a better leader, not understanding that government is mind control, that it's completely corrupt, that it needs to be abolished. Okay, and that Trump was not the bad guy. They're all bad. Okay, and you're not going to get some
Mm,
better president because you picked him. Maybe they were mad because it wasn't Hillary, but even if it had been Hillary, it'd be just as corrupted as it is now. And then when it comes to
right.
the gender equality, I mean, I'm hearing these women saying they just want equality, and the wage gap to go away and things to be, and all the rights to be equal. They want equal. They want men and women to be equal. Well, if they wanted that, shouldn't they stopped years ago? Because if I was to get technical, if a woman gets breast cancer and she ain't got money, there's actually government funding that'll pay for her funding for the fraudulent medical care, okay? And men get breast cancer just as much as women, but you don't hear that reported in society. That's left out. And if a man gets breast cancer, he can't qualify for any kind of funding to help pay for the medical costs because he's a man. But then things are
Yeah,
equal. But things are equal for men and women, huh?
yeah, that's the furthest thing from the truth. Um, yeah, that's just to keep pushing their, when they say they keep fighting for equal rights for women, that's just to keep pushing the division, more and more, and just keep pressing the men. That's all that's doing.
That's exactly what that's doing. I almost, if I was at one of these marches, I would have asked them, so what do you think about all the female shaming on TV? I would have probably said that to a woman. She had looked at me funny and I'd said, oh, that's right. It wasn't female shaming, was it? It was male shaming. So, I mean, it's sickening because if you turn on, I haven't watched TV in years, but I've been toying around with it recently just to see what they're pushing on TV. And all I see is, it didn't take me long at all. And I just turned it right back off. Male shaming, male
Right.
shaming, male shaming, male shaming, male shaming.
Yeah. I mean, that's why I had to get rid of television. I just got so tired of it. Every sitcom, every commercial. I mean, every time you turn on TV, here's a commercial with the husband and the wife. The wife is showing the husband how to fold a shirt because he's too stupid to figure it out on his own, And yeah, I just kind of had enough of television, and and you feel a lot better when you turn it off, you just feel like you can think more freely. Wouldn't you agree, Bill?
Oh, definitely, definitely. You're not getting lied to all the time and you're not getting all the propaganda they're feeding. But what David said about the male shaming, yeah. See, he's a man. He's like I am. How can you sit back and watch yourself be discriminated against that way openly on the airwaves of TV set around the world, all over the place? And you don't see anybody crying out about this, speaking out against, saying, how come we're doing this? You don't see anybody speaking up. They're just like so weak minded that they think this is somehow normal. And
Hmm.
you got to imagine what this does to children because little boys and little girls are growing up and the boy's message, all he hears from that TV set is how he's dumb, he's stupid, he'll never be intelligent, he'll always mess everything up, okay? How he's a potential murderer or rapist or villain, he's a monster. This is the message the TV set tells little boys as they grow up. And the message for the little girls is they're smart, they're intelligent, they're this, they're that. They're always right, and the boy will always be wrong if it comes to anything between the girl and boy. The girl could never be wrong because she's a girl, okay? And
Right.
then, what is that doing to the children?
Right, and that's what makes it, mainstream media so dangerous to kids is because your first 14 or 15 years of your life are so crucial to your, emotional development. And the TV, television set, mainstream media has such an influence, as a kid growing up, and it really can mold you, and that's what makes mainstream media so dangerous. And
It does.
so,
That's social engineering, brainwashing right through the television set. And people don't realize that. And these little kids, they grow up seeing this, and this is the message that's being handed to them. And then they go to school, and then the further propaganda is handed to them in the school system. And the way children act in school and perceive in school comes from their family environment and their television set. And we see so many parents that don't want to be bothered by their children that their television set and their video games become their babysitter.
right, yeah, I see it. see it all the time. You know, so many people that I know personally, they're you know, they don't even really bother with their kids. The kids are so you know, hooked into television, video games. You know, yeah, it's just not a healthy environment.
No, it isn't, and we know what message these kids are getting. And then you don't want for guys, young men chasing after trying to get a woman in their life if they're not in that upper tier, 20%, 15%. These women just reject them left and right, left and right. They don't care because the woman ain't got
Right.
nothing to lose by rejecting because there's always somebody else that's hitting on her, somebody else that's hitting on her, somebody else that's hitting on her. Okay. And for
Yeah.
some women, if they actually meet somebody they really like and then they're with that person they really like, then other guys, they don't respect that. You don't have that respect in today's society. They're going and hitting on that woman thinking somehow it makes them a better man if they can take that woman out from underneath another man.
Yeah.
Okay, and this is how corrupt it is. This is how sick our society's become.
Yeah. I agree. I mean, I've been you know, I've been a victim of that in the past myself. But you know, you know, you start dating a woman and or a girl, and when you know when I was younger, and you know, she's got all these other guys hitting on her, and you know, next thing you know, you know, you're thrown out like yesterday's newspaper. You know,
You do.
and you know, that's what it was. That's what it was like. You felt almost felt like you know, for women, it's like going to a department store and just trying on a piece of clothing. You know, and they don't like, oh, they don't like this one, he doesn't fit good enough, we're gonna put him back on the shelf, and we'll pick something else out, that's all, you know. And
Well,
but yeah, I was
I went out to the club yesterday, Dave. I went out to a bar, and I'm not a drinker, so if I have a drink, it's a mixed drink here and there, and that's about it. I've never been a drinker, but my wife likes to go there when they have this guy that does karaoke, and he only comes in there once a month to do karaoke. Okay, so she
hmm
wanted to go, so we went out last night and we went to this bar. And when I first went in there, the guy's there, karaoke guy, and he's there and he's all set up and he don't start at 8:30 and we're there like at quarter to 8 and the bar's pretty well. There's not very many people in it. Well, by 9 o'clock it was standing room only. Okay, and it was just absolutely packed. And so you got these people going up there, and some of these people, of course, they can't sing for shit. Okay, and other people don't do too bad, and they're up there singing, doing their thing, and here's all these young females, 25, 30 years old, in their 20s, 30, 30s, and these guys, they're just flocking all over these girls, and these girls are up there, they're drunk, they're singing, they're shaking their asses, and it just was getting ridiculous in some of the songs they were playing, and they were just up there shaking and strutting their asses and and showing it all off, and all these simps are just surrounding them, their eyes glued to them, and you could see it. These girls had no problem. They could have picked any guy out of all the guys that were there. They could have just picked any guy they wanted.
oh yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, that's you know, years ago I wasn't really into nightclubs myself when I was younger. I think the last time I actually went into a nightclub, I was probably in my early 20s, 23 years old. But yeah, I mean, you know, even back then, you know, that's every time I went there, I saw that phoniness, and you know, I just, no, I just didn't like it, you know, and you know, just,
Yeah, well, this
you
was
know,
this
but yeah,
particular
no,
bar. That's what it was last night. Okay, in this particular bar. And I'm not somebody that goes and frequents clubs and bars. I've heard Steve talk about he going to a club and all the females are over at a table, congregated together and not wanting to associate with men. And I see that happening because of technology and the way our society is. But boy, what I saw last night, to me, I mean, it was disgusting. There was a lot of females in here. Okay, there was a lot
yeah,
of females in this bar doing karaoke. But believe me, you had a lot of men, and all these men were just, I mean, they were right there just joining in and flocking with these girls. And these girls were enjoying showing their stuff off. I mean, it's so sexualized. I mean, they're up there shaking their asses, they're dressed in tight jeans, and they're just up there
mm,
showing and flaunting it. And that's really what I was seeing while they were singing. They were flaunting themselves. And, when they were drunk, of course, on top of it, you could tell about the behavior that they were drunk.
Right.
So, my wife and I sat there and we had a couple of friends with us and we sat there and we were watching this stuff. And my wife goes up and sings a couple songs and her friend did, and okay, they're having their entertainment, they're having fun. And I'm not into this. So I'd step outside and go sit in my vehicle and have a cigarette and come back in. And of course, it was like bitter cold. And I got home last night and then I get up this morning and it was 14 below zero outside.
Well,
And I was
you
like,
guys
well,
were in
that's
that tough
nice.
part. Yeah, you guys are in that tough part of the country. I've been there in Minnesota. You guys are getting some brutal cold right now. I know that.
Yeah, they're called, and I hope it don't happen, but like Wednesday night, the forecast is for 30 below zero. And I mean 30 negative on the thermometer. So,
Oh,
and if it gets that cold, I know there's going to be lots of vehicles that won't start.
oh yeah, yeah. That's almost unheard of. I've never. That's without wind chill factor, right? That's just
That's without
straight
wind
30
chill
below zero.
factor, yes. This morning when I got up, it was 14, and then it went to 15 below. And everything I looked at was 15 below. And we started the car, and it drug over slow, and it was and it read it even on the car, 15 below. So I mean, it's just this is the negative without wind chill factor, and you get the wind chill factor in there, you might be 50 below. They've got weather
Mm.
warning out here for between Tuesday and Thursday of not a winter storm, but the temperatures. Dangerous weather to bundle up real warm and don't stay outside, and because this weather is dangerous, it'll kill you.
Oh yeah, that, yeah, no doubt. I thought Massachusetts was cold. Wow, that's yeah, yeah. We ain't got nothing on you guys.
And so, it's just,
Yeah.
but when I looked around me and I seen what I seen going on, and then I was looking last night and I'm watching these so-called women marches and I'm watching these guys go around and interviewing all these people. And the dumbness was just right through the roof. The people that are so asleep. And even the females, how it can be like it is, how, these females are going home and they're watching their television set and how they cannot notice all the male shaming that's in their face every day, how they cannot notice the laws and the double standards in society, and then turn around and still complain that all they want is equality and equal rights. That is beyond me.
Yeah,
It's like, wow, unreal.
I know it. How many times can you just beat a, you know, just beat this into somebody's head? It's yeah. They just and they hear it from the TV set. They just think, oh well, it came from the TV set, so it's like God has spoken.
Yeah, seriously. Yeah, David, you're right. This is where they're getting their information is from their television set, who's busy lying to them, lying to them. If I
Well,
had my way, I'd rip every TV set out of everybody's home.
yeah. I'm sure. Yeah, I'm sure society would benefit from it. Because all it is just a propaganda machine, just spewing out scat 24 hours a day anyway.
Exactly. That's what it is. It's a tool. It's what he said. It's a propaganda machine. It's a brainwashing. It's a tool, a mechanism being used to destroy people's lives, and it's working.
Mm,
So I
yeah.
mean, but the manosphere itself, I had a goal to try to, and I already suspect it won't never happen. But my goal was by the end of 2019 to try to get the manosphere, all the different groups working together on the same cause and looking for causes and not symptoms. And I don't see that
Mm,
I don't see that happening. So that's one of the reasons I asked David at the beginning, what do you think the future is for the manosphere? And
mm,
and I think David gave a pretty good answer there. It's just going to get worse. There's nothing that's going to get better. And men are more divided than ever. And they're all divided over their opposite gender. And the opposite gender is so asleep that they already have the same rights as men plus more than men. And they're so asleep to this that they're still whining and complaining. So, but it is an example of power and greed, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely.
Because they want more, even if they already have as much and more themselves, they still want more. And then the other
Yeah.
thing is ego. You got so many people running on ego out here between both genders, and ego absolutely corrupts a human being.
Yeah. Yeah. I couldn't agree with that more.
And
Yeah.
I think that's something maybe you might want to touch a little bit about what you've seen in your own life, David, when it comes to ego and things like that.
Well, basically, I would just say, people I work with, people getting, people I work with getting promotions that they didn't even really earn. Um, they would once, talk to you. They were once your friend, and if you thought they were your friend, and then they get a promotion, and all of a sudden they're just, it's like beneath them to talk to you anymore. To associate themselves with you anymore. That's the kind of ego I see a lot of that going on.
They hide,
But yeah,
yeah.
definitely definitely in the workplace a lot of ego going on.
I've seen
You
this in
know,
the workplace my whole life, and what you're talking about is true because what happens is their head inflates with their ego, and they start thinking somehow they're more smarter than you, better than you, they're on a higher level than you, and they're not going to be seen as socializing or talking with somebody on a lower level when there is no level.
right?
We're all human beings. But this is what ego does for people. It totally, totally corrupts them. And they're
Mm.
not willing to
Yeah,
check their own behaviors, are they?
yeah, I don't see that happening. They just, they definitely don't accept that, their behavior, and they just keep going, keep doing what they're doing. Um, well,
Yeah. Well, we
yeah.
have we have uh we have Greg in here, and he says he struggles with rage every day. Okay, I understand what
Mhm.
he's talking about when he says he struggles with rage every day because it is. I mean, it's very unfair in your society, and you get a world where people say, "Well, there's nothing's ever fair in life," but see, we're as human beings. It's not fair because we have not wanted it fair because people want to be over the top of other people because of corruption. But yet, I don't know anybody that wants to be told what they can and can't do or how to think and how to feel by another human being. But yet, these people run on ego. They think that they're somehow better and they need to teach you how you're supposed to talk or feel or act, okay, which is no better than what the elite has done to us. So they're in the same mindset. They're already corrupt.
Right. Yeah, it's just like a, yeah, they're just rolling up. Everybody's kind of like rolling off each other, from the top on down. Yeah, it's really sad.
They are. It's it's disgusting because if they would just back up, but you're not going to get people to back up because when people run on ego, they don't want to take any accountability. They don't want to self check themselves. They don't want to practice thinking about how somebody else would feel if you do this, or, they don't want to recognize right from wrong. They want to believe that they make no mistakes, and so therefore they don't have to check themselves. And their head it just gets worse and worse. Like what David said about on the job site. See, this is why I was telling people I've dealt with people with ego my whole life. And every last time it's absolutely corrupted them. Every last time. And they become somebody that nobody wants to associate with no more. You know, there was a guy named Glenn who done this.
Mhm.
His ego just went to his head, and he pissed so many people off at him when he got a position. Matter of fact, the one guy I would have never wanted pissed at me. There was this black man. He was a really pretty cool guy. I liked him. Okay, he was a really pretty cool guy to work out with, to work with, and I worked on many jobs with him. But he was the guy that went around to the remodels and collected all the trash, the junk, right? And he drove a big
Yeah.
truck. Well, this guy was not only like 6 foot tall, a black man. His arms were that like of a Hulk Hogan. You know what I'm saying? He was really, really built. His chest and stuff, he
Right.
was not heavy set, but he was well built. I watched this guy pick up a hide to bed couch, a full hide to bed couch by himself, and toss it up in the air over the top of a tall standing dump truck into the back of that bed. And he
Mm.
single handedly did that by himself. And so here's Glenn with his walking around with his chest all poked out because he got a position and his ego flying high and tipping on everybody that was below him because of his ego. And he thought, he
Yeah.
pissed James off. That was this guy's name. He pissed James off so bad. James and I were talking. He says, the only reason he's not dead is because I don't want to go to jail. He says, you don't know how hard it was for me to not beat the living shit out of
Mm.
him.
Wow.
Okay, and he was serious, and James was a pretty cool guy, and he didn't get mad too easy, but Glenn really had it coming to him, and was all because of his ego. He literally looked
Yeah.
down on everybody around him that was below him and thought he was too good to associate with them, and he treated them lower than dirt, and this is why I have such a grudge against people with ego, and when it comes to what's going on in society and these so-called truthers, when they start running on ego, look out because this is why the
Mm.
corruption happens. Because when you run on
Mm.
ego, I'm sorry, you're going to become like the very people you're speaking out against. And it doesn't
Yeah.
matter what you say, you will become just like them. And if you don't want to become like them, then you really have to lose the ego. Mark Passy even said that. Lose the ego.
Mm. Yeah. I definitely agree. It's I would say one of the biggest egomaniacs I know of is probably the governor of Massachusetts. I don't know if you're familiar with the guy's name is Charlie Baker. Um, controls all the local media around here, and he's like the self-professed most popular governor in the United States. Every month, he has this control over the media, so he has them put an article in the papers. Charlie Baker rated again the most popular governor in the United States. And it's just such hogwash. But that's like the mentality around here. It's this, but like you said, this ego thing has just gone just out of control with a lot of people.
It is. It is. It's escalated to a point that's where it's at. It's out of control. And you can't get these people who are running on ego to back up and check themselves, you know. And one of the things I've experienced through fighting and doing the battles I've done over the years I've been here, you know, the one thing I respect David. I met David through doing these live streams, and I have a lot of respect for him because just David himself, just his comments alone, told me I was looking at somebody who was as real as I was, who was awake to what was going on and wasn't bluffing or lying to anybody. And after talking to David a couple of times, I realized, I have a lot of respect for David. He's been around since 2007. He's been watching this stuff. And I've been up here all these years, and he's watched Steve Hoka's work. He's watched my work. And David's not a spring chicken. He's not no young person in their 20s. He's lived his life. He's experienced
Mm.
all the stuff we're talking about himself, and he knows where TFLers stand because he's been living it himself. He sees the corruption, he sees the root causes, and I earned a lot of respect for this man because this man is actually awake to what's really going on, and he's not lying to anybody. He may not be out there speaking out, but he has a life too, right?
Yeah, I appreciate that, Bill. But yeah, it's right now yeah, it's just definitely a lot of work right now. Just that's why I'm so tied up with that. And geez, you know, my days off seem just so short, and it's just right back to work. It's just constant. But yeah, thank God. Yeah, I'm actually going to be retiring in about 10 more months. So maybe I can get a little bit more free time to myself. Then I'm sure. But yeah, for now it's definitely with work's definitely keeping me really busy right now.
Well, David, I was thinking about this. You're going to be retired in another 10, 11 months from now. And you're what, 48, 49 years old. So
Yeah, I'll be
you're
49 when I retire. Yeah.
there you go. So he's going to be 49 years old when he actually retires. Do you follow this now? David, do you suppose that if you'd have had a woman in your life, you'd be able to retire at that age?
No, no way. Especially a woman, especially and especially if I had kids. No, I'd be working till I would have to max out. I would have to work the maximum at my job, which I would have to work there probably about another 6 or 7 years, to max out. But I wouldn't have other money and resources like investment accounts and things like that. I've my mortgage paid off. I paid my mortgage off about 4 years ago, 4 or 5 years ago. I wouldn't have been able to do that. That's for sure. But it was just living below my means too. I did that too, so that helped. But if I got married, there'd be no way I'd be able to retire.
But
At this age.
it's nice hearing this because see, David has some message that screams to people if they just really listen to him because he lived below his means, which was a very, very smart thing to do, okay, on his behalf. And people could say, well, no. And I said, but you got so many people that live above their means that they wind up on the streets. David lived below his means. And because he lived below his means and didn't have a female in his life, he's able to retire at a young age.
Hmm.
There's not many people I can
Yeah.
say that for, and I think David is a good example of. And I know what David just said. That's why I asked him that question. Do you suppose you could have done that with a female in your life? Because we all know that that would not be possible with a female. So he actually, but in reality, you know what, David? You got the females to thank for your success because through their rejecting you and pushing you into TFL,
Right. Hmm.
you went through
Hmm.
some tough times like all of us did, but they're the reason you're so successful too.
Yeah. And that's what I just decided to. Okay, I'm gonna just do the best I can with what I have and set some goals. And I would advise other like the younger guys that are going through this to do the same. Just kind of be financially astute with your money and try to retire at an early age. Try this whole notion that 70 is the new 50. I mean, don't believe that propaganda. The media likes to push that because they want people to work and work until they drop dead, basically.
That's exactly what it
But
is. If they want to rob you of your social security your whole life, that they take out of your check without your permission, and they're going to tell you that's for your retirement, but then in reality,
hmm,
they want you dead to not collect that money. And that's what the real
yeah,
truth is. They just want to take your money and never give it back.
right. But if you can, but like I was saying, the younger guys try to retire when you're in your 50s, and 55 would be a nice goal, and just get out there and enjoy life, and just get out of the rat race. That's you can get some enjoyment out of life. I mean, you can, you've pretty much won. That's what you want. You don't want to be, you definitely don't want to be a slave to corporations and your whole life. That's no way to live.
Yeah, well, and in TFL True Force Loneliness of Toronto up in Canada, he's telling me I need comments in this live stream from commenters. And I don't look over at the comment section maybe as much as you think I should. because I'm here to give a message and help people, and David's trying to do the same thing. And you can't distract yourself with trying to answer a bunch of people's comments and take yourself off cue of what you want to talk about or the message you want to get out to you, because then you get absolutely nowhere. And if I'm trying to get a message out to you, or David has said some really good stuff that you TFLers really need to take seriously and think about what he's saying to you, okay? And you're not going to get that message if you're worried about other stuff and this is all that's on your mind. You know, we can try to help you, but you have to first want to help yourself, because nobody can help somebody who don't want to help themselves. And that's where that comes from.
Yeah.
If you go over the live stream, I don't know if Dave is on the live stream, just mute the sound on the
Yeah,
platform.
I'm still here, Bill.
Yeah. Then you can read the comments that are up there yourself. But that's, so, to True Force Loneliness out of Toronto there, he says, what about me, Bill? Well, what about you? I'm not understanding what you're saying, because I don't focus in on the comments as much as you think I should, because by doing so, it would distract me from what we're trying to get out. And I can't nurture everybody's comments. Okay, it's nice to have the commenters, and I don't mind. I could take a few minutes in a live stream and we could answer some questions for you if that's what you want. Okay, but then you have to be fair about it and try to stay on point to what we're talking about here. I guess that's probably the way you should handle that. Okay, can I get what? Can he get praise? Praise for what? I don't put anybody on a pedestal. I don't care what gender they are. People should not be placed on a pedestal above somebody else. That's what's led to our corruption. Well, yeah, you've been through hell and back. You're 24 years old. And the hell and back that you're going through is mostly from the dating scene from females, and I'm sure of that at your age. That you've been rejected over and over and over again. Okay, and I'm sure of that. Well, I'm not giving Dave all the honors. I'm talking to Dave, and this is not about who's above somebody else. That's the wrong mentality to be taken. Okay? Maybe you can share some of your life experiences at 24 years old. Okay? But don't think that somebody's given somebody. David has lived just a few more years than you. And he has done some things right to where he's able to actually retire at a young age that he couldn't have done with a female in his life. And he's also lived true force loneliness like you. At 24 years old, David was once 24 himself, living TFL like you. So don't take the message wrong that I'm giving David all the honors, because this is not about somebody's above somebody else. This is about schooling people to what's really going on in society. So if you want to join in the comment section, you need to take the negativity away from yourself and try to, if you want somebody to know about your life experience, type something that's happened to you in into the chat that's actually happened to you, really. Okay, then we can discuss what's happened to you and how many other men it's probably happened to. So what do you think about that, David?
Yeah, I mean, if he wants, I mean, I think a good thing if to maybe join in one of these live chats would be maybe an option for him. If he wants to, tell his side, tell his, and he can share any stories or any input.
Well, that would be an
Yeah,
idea. That would be an idea if you took my email address down and I had a way of contacting you through an email. Then if you're brave enough to talk out, you could climb on a phone, but you are in Canada. So that could present, but it is, I don't know if you can use the toll-free number in Canada and into the United States or not. I don't live over there. But I think what David said, if you wanted to come
Mm.
into a live stream, would be a good thing. We just have to work out how you wanted to do it. Okay? There's other ways you could do it if you have a mic and you have a PC, which obviously you do, or you wouldn't be typing, right? Then I could bring you into a live stream. Because if you want to talk about issues you've had going on in your life with TFL and your experiences, I have nothing against that personally at all. I just don't want you thinking somehow this is some kind of a competition and Dave is getting all of the honors because Dave is the one I brought up on this live stream today. That doesn't mean he's getting all the honors. That's you taking things the wrong way. Okay, well, then you have a cell phone. Okay, that's fine. You have a smartphone. Do you have a PC? Because I don't know. You're on a cell phone, so obviously you could call a 1-800 number, right? So obviously, if I
Mm.
put my email in here, you need to be able to keep that email. And how would you do that on a cell phone? What I'm doing right now is I'm giving you an option to be able to come into a live stream. Now, you either want to or you don't want to.
Yeah. And it's real easy. I mean, that's because that's all I'm using right now. I'm just on my cell phone. I'm not even at my computer or anything. But I mean, just yeah, just your cell phone and you're in. You know, that's all it
That's
takes.
exactly it. And the reason I said I want an email to send you is because I'm not going to put the information to how you could call into a live stream on the chat box for the public to see because I've done this once before and it leads to trolls. Okay, and I'm not going to have the trolling. So I have to be able to control that. So you have to be able to take an email. Okay, I'm going to type my email in here because I won't answer to a troll anyhow. You introduce yourself in an email. You can use the same screen name you use here so I know who you are. And you send me an email. That's the way I'm going to handle this. And I can send you a call-in phone number, okay? And then upon setting up a live stream, if you want to come on, I'll send you an ID number. And you just follow the prompts. When you make that phone call to that number I'm giving you, you follow the prompts and you'll be right in. You'll be live, okay? So I'm going to put in an email for you. You use this email and you send me an email so I know it's you. I'll send you a call-in number. And then you can type me when you're available and we'll set a time that you want to come up and be on a live stream. Then I'll send you an ID number. Then you can come into a live stream. And for any other TFLers that would want to come into a live stream, you can do the same thing. Take that email and use it to contact me, and I'll give you the information. But I'm not putting it in a live stream chat for the public because I'm not having trolls come in. I already had that happen once, and I'm not going there again. So I think that's pretty fair because I think David's right. I think it wouldn't be a bad idea if some of you guys, but you have to be willing to come in and want to talk about and stay on point about the issues. And you need to understand you have to get off the symptoms. And you have to find ways. I think David gave you some good advice. Okay, because I didn't create TFL. I just give a name to it. Social engineering, the cause is what caused TFL, and you have to be strong enough to realize that. And we didn't cause the problem, and David's been living it pretty much his whole life. Okay, and so
Mm.
you can get experiences from David because, as you know, True Force Loneliness of Toronto, there, he says he's 24 years old. Okay, and David's 48 years old. Okay, and Greg, I know that you've had issues, okay, with anger and stuff like this. And that anger comes from what's happened to you, which isn't correct and isn't right, but you have to understand the causes. and you have to be able to control your own behavior. And you'll get better as you get older. Because I'm sure David had his fear of anger times and depression time too.
Right.
Because we
Yeah,
all
there's
have.
definitely moments.
Yeah.
Yeah. You do, like you said, you get when you get older, you learn how to handle it better, and eventually you just you just start more focusing more on the positives than the negatives, and that's the best thing you can do.
There
But
you go. There you go.
yeah.
See, you got to be real. We're not going to, that's why I said I'm not sugarcoating nothing. You have to be real about this because you're not going to, somebody who comes up and tells you they have a cure for TFL is sugarcoating and lying to you. They do not have a cure for TFL. They can lie to you all they want. They do not have a cure.
Yeah. Amen.
The cure for TFL isn't something that would happen overnight. And you have to understand where the problem come from, the causes and where it came from, the root cause. And then you can think about solutions. And solutions is something that's not going to happen overnight, and it's only going to happen through numbers of men getting together and stop fighting, and it's going to happen through numbers of men that are actually sick and tired of this, that are willing to stand together for the same cause. And as long as we're all freaking happen to have our uh, little division here that I'm better, more of a victim than you, I'm better than you, and you have all these false BS things going on that makes you not want to stand together with other men for the common denominator, then you'll always stay in the life you're living because you can never fight something by being divided.
Yeah, that's true.
That's why it's called divide and conquer. Evil wins, you lose because you're divided.
Yeah, absolutely right, Bill.
That's it. So, but I wanted David up here, and I appreciate David. I really do. And I think David said some really good stuff in today's little topic, little interview with David, okay? That I wanted to bring back up here today. And I appreciate David giving me his time to do this. And I think that you
All
should,
right, no problem,
yep,
Bill.
I think that you all should appreciate it as well. Take it to heart, use the email, and I'm going to get off here now. Okay, because I don't want to take up
Okay.
David's time neither. So I think he's done a really good job, and thank you, David.
All right. No, thank you, Bill. Thanks for having me on. And yeah, just be careful with that cold weather you got up there in Minnesota.
Oh
Okay.
yeah, I've got some nasty stuff right now. But with that being said, guys, I'm out of here. Until the next one, you all have a good one.
All right. Take care, Bill.
Yep, bye bye.